that I want to actually inform our audience about involving an ICE officer in Minneapolis. As you know, we've been surging ICE DHS personnel, over 2,000 on the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Massive reaction from the federal government. It appears that it was a ramming and a shooting. This is breaking news, a ramming and a shooting. So a lot of times these citizen activists, these volunteers on the left, they will follow around ICE vehicles, trying to alert the public, and sometimes they ram them. And sometimes they try and get in their way. Sometimes they play fast and loose with their own vehicle. It appears, initial indications, we're waiting for more information here, that that's what this was. But Senator, let's start there. There was a House Oversight Committee hearing on the Somali fraud and the complicity within the local politicians there, covering it up. Maybe they were getting political kickbacks. What's your take of it? You have run the state of Florida. You know these processes. You know how the bureaucracies work. What's your reaction?
Well, I'm not surprised, number one. When I became governor of Florida, January 2011, I started going agency by agency. And my background is I'm a business guy. And in business, you don't waste your money, right? And you solve your customers' needs. They don't want to pay you a little extra money because you wasted money or did stupid things. So what I watched agency by agency, they wouldn't worry about fraud against the agency. They wouldn't worry about improper payments. They look, it's free money. The way so many people look at it. So I went agency by agency and fixed it. Then we got all this free federal money. It's free, by the way. The attitude that many governors have is if the federal government's paying for it, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Right? And so I watched it like after a hurricane, people would say, well, if we just got to, we can go get all this free federal money. So I watched unbelievable fraud attempts with regard to debris pickup after hurricanes. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Every government program, and especially federal programs, the oversight is pathetic. It's horrible. We have studies. We know that there's, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. We know there's tens of billions of dollars worth of improper payments, and we don't get the money back.
Yeah.
And then we know people lie, cheat, and steal, and we're just sitting there, and people say, "Well, it's free. Why do you worry so much about this?" Well, we should worry about it because $38.5 trillion worth of debt. Your interest rates are too high because of that. The inflation is caused by all this wasteful spending, and it's not fair. It's not fair. The hardworking kid that's out there or family that's out there busting their butt every day, and then somebody else doesn't want to work, so they take advantage of a state government, a local government, a federal government. It's wrong.
There's multiple questions here. I'm going to play David Marcus from Fox News. He had a great take on it. I want to get your reaction to it because we had Senator Ron Johnson on the show yesterday. I know a friend and colleague of yours in the Senate who said that these systems are designed to fail. They're designed to be looted. They're designed to have wealth extracted from working class Americans, from the white man, however you want to look at it, to be given to marginalized communities. I thought David Marcus made an incredible point here, 245.
This is not standard Tammany Hall patronage and kickbacks, right? We've always had that. That was meant to keep people in power. That was not meant to be a massive redistribution of wealth. What we're seeing here is a massive redistribution of wealth. When these blue states allocate billions of dollars for marginalized communities and then fail to put in place any safeguards to stop theft, that's Marxism by fraud. That's taking money from corporations, from rich people, saying we're going to send it over here. We're not going to pay any attention to what's happening to it.
That line sticks with me. This is Marxism by fraud. Is this intentional? Is this in a blue state, in a blue setting? Is this the outgrowth of a really sick ideology that is based on racial grievances, that's based on systemic oppression, that's based on CRT? All of these ideologies, is it intentionally lacking oversight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Most of the taxes are paid by hard-working middle-class Americans. That's who's paying most of the taxes in this country, right? And it's taken their money and giving it to somebody else, and then the goal is the politicians that give all this away, vote for them because they're giving you something for free because it's free, Andrew. It doesn't cost anything. So, absolutely. I mean, let me tell you a quick story. I became governor of Florida. I ran my whole campaign in 2010 on jobs. I go to the agency that does unemployment right after I won. I said, how's unemployment work? They said, well, you have to. She said, we're open 6 days a week because unemployed Floridians don't have enough time to apply during the week. Really? I said, if you get on unemployment, you have to do anything. They said, yeah, you have to apply for 5 jobs a week. I said, do you enforce that? Well, no. I said, if somebody was on unemployment and you found them have a job, would you, accuse them of fraud and get the money back? Well, no. I said, what's your purpose here? They said, our purpose is to get as many people on the program as we can, right? Because we don't, because we'll feel good. Who cares? It's free. By the way, they explained to me that at the time the federal government was paying the excess money, so it's free. It's federal money. They don't care. And they think that's just how they're going to get elected. And you look, I've been up here 7 years. They don't, the people, they don't set up the programs to work. They intentionally allow the fraud. And then we have earmarks that waste money. We have programs that have no accountability. When I was governor of Florida, 4,000 lines of budget, every line had a written purpose. If you didn't meet your purpose, I vetoed your money. We can't even, it's hard to even get a copy of the budget up here, let alone is there a purpose? So we've got to get to the bottom of this. This is unfair. It's un-American.
I wonder if you're going to get maybe a John Fetterman in the Senate, if there's laws that need to be changed. Is there, there's too little time here, and I actually have to ask you about Greenland. I had no idea you spoke with representatives from Greenland as much as you did. 259.
Denmark is a great ally, and I know every time I talk to them, I talk to their ambassador quite a bit. They want to work with us, so we'll see what happens there.
All right, Senator. So you know these people.
I know exactly what's going to happen.
Dude. What is going to happen next? No, 1 minute left.
So I don't. Look, Denmark is a great ally. I talk to their ambassador quite a bit. Jesper's a good guy. So I think Trump is trying to be strategic. I don't believe we're going to be invading Greenland, but I do believe we're going to figure out how to work with Greenland to have more military assets on there so we can counteract what China and Russia is doing. So something will happen there. You never know exactly, the process, the let's make a deal guy is going to do, but something will happen there to put us in a better position.
Senator, thank you for joining. We'll have you on again soon. Thank you so much, sir. There is a tweet here from Tricia McLaughlin, who was just on the show, actually said today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations, very targeted. There's over 2,000 that have surged to that area following the Somali fraud ring, basically following Nick Shirley's expose. When rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in attempt to kill them. Certainly, or at least to block them. But yeah, certainly those things can be fatal, and these people lose their minds and they do crazy things. An act of domestic terrorism, says Tricia McLaughlin. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. The ICE officer who was hurt are expected to make full recoveries. And I totally agree with this, by the way, what she says next. This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement. These men and women who are simply enforcing the law on the books are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation where we will give public more information as soon as it becomes available.
And that's the most important part, because she says that we'll see. There's reportedly video. We'll get more context on what fully happened. But the big picture is this, which is the reason ICE has to go around all acting like they're basically going to war is because they're treated as an enemy force by these left-wing cities, by these left-wing governments. Their job would be a million times easier if they could pluck people out of jails.
Yes.
Focus on that, get the criminals who are getting arrested. That's happening all the time. They have treated them like criminals. They've encouraged violence against them, and they've harassed them. And so regardless of how this incident went down, that is why it happened, and that needs to be the focus.
Yeah.
The blood of this person is on Jacob Fry's hands. It's on Governor Tim Walz's hands, period.
I totally well said. 1,000% agree. I actually like it
So
when we
do I.
disagree on stuff a little bit because it makes for a lively
Juices the
debate.
wheels.
I just happen to completely agree with what you said. You have to. So no sob stories here. Absolutely not. I have seen video after video. There was an instance that really sticks out in my mind where I saw a video of this guy ramming ICE officers in California. They ram him back. They stop him and arrest him. He gets released. He gets immediately. He's an American citizen. So he goes over straight to CNN about 2 hours later, cries victim on national television, and this is what they do. This is their cycle. So you have these vigilantes. They call themselves citizen, activists or whatever, and they're working on behalf of illegal immigrants. Because why get off your couch to help American citizens? They want to go help the marginalized, right? So then they do this, and they put lives on the line. They put lives at risk of federal law enforcement. And by the way, new today, ICE officers have surpassed their recruiting goals of 10,000, according to the One Big Beautiful Bill. They've hired 12,000. There's 12,000 new ICE officers on the streets of the United States. And I want to underscore Blake's point here about this, the way that it was done. So you go back to Obama was called the deporter-in-chief. Do you realize that 80% of those deportations were done the old-fashioned way? What does that mean? It means that an illegal immigrant was arrested, apprehended on the streets of his or her, invaded city. They would go into jail. The local officials would process that person. There would be an ICE detainer. They would hand that person over to ICE safely, securely. There's no raids in the streets. There's no DHS rammings. There's none of that stuff. It's secure. The person has handcuffs on. They get put on a plane, processed, put back in their country of origin. When sanctuary cities and states refuse to cooperate with federal law enforcement, this is the result. They have to go into the streets, do raids. They have to go knock on doors. They have to endanger the public in order to do the public a good. So this is completely Blake's point. The blood is on the hand of Jacob Fry, who's, by the way, demanding that these ICE agents be removed from his city, which is not going to happen, by the way. And you hear Tom Homan saying, we're going to double down. We're coming for California. We're coming for Illinois. We're coming for New York next. So look out. More of this is coming, as it should be. And, just say a prayer for our brave men and women of DHS and ICE as they are forced to not work in cooperation behind closed doors in safety, but instead have to go out on the streets and conduct raids on businesses and homes and that sort of thing, because this is completely on the head and on the hands of local officials. It's absolutely infuriating. Pundit, founder of Big Data Poll, joining us now. I tweeted something yesterday. Welcome, Rich. I tweeted something yesterday from Harry Enton from CNN. And I saw you get into the comments, and I was like, I gotta get my boy Rich on, because when I tweeted it, I was like, I thought about you in the back of my head. I was like, I know Rich is gonna totally disagree, but I kind of disagree with you a little bit. That can make for a fun conversation. So Harry Enton is saying that there is no rift in MAGA, that President Trump was at 84% of approval rate within the GOP or his base, previous Trump voters. Now he's at 85%. 6 months goes by, he goes up 1 percentage point, which is nominal, obviously, but it at least it's not going the other way. It's going presumably up. And this is after Venezuela, which raised some questions about our foreign policy. MAGA's America First. So how does this jive with that whole vibe? So, Rich, tell me why Harry Enton is wrong. What am I missing? The floor is yours.
So first, and for folks, maybe this was the easiest way to explain it. And as always, by the way, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Think about the MAGA coalition like a simple Venn diagram, all right? Republican does not equal MAGA, and MAGA does not equal Republican. If you looked at it like a Venn diagram, you would see in the middle, all of the various groups that come together. But MAGA is actually made up of several different groups of people. One, you're going to have those hardcore Republicans. They're Republicans. They vote Republican no matter what. And they also vote MAGA. And Trump has won the argument even with them. And then you have a smaller group of Republicans that they're not MAGA. And by the way, I mean, we have some public figures who pretend like they are, but in truth, in the populace, they've been voting Democrat for a while. They may vote for a moderate Republican or a traditional rhino or something, but they don't vote for MAGA. But they're overwhelmed, and they're like more than offset by a group of independents and even a small sliver of orphan Democrats that only vote for MAGA. And they'll only come out for America. And I don't even know if MAGA is the right way to say it anymore, Andrew, because we've had this like debate over MAGA versus America first. So the messaging is getting muddled there. But for all the time that we have been tracking it, it's, in theory, this is Donald Trump's vision of America first, all right? And I know we're debating what that means right now, right? Even with the president off doing things that other people disagree with. But Harry Enton, I would warn all of you, he is a prime actor in what has long been a use of public polls to dupe the right. And the right falls for it every single time.
Hold on, Rich. Now, I remember Harry Enton in the run-up to the 2024 election showing poll after poll of Trump winning, of Trump being ahead in the polls, of Trump winning on this issue, that issue. And I'm just saying, maybe that's my memory, and maybe I'm selectively, choosing what I remember and what I don't. But I do remember him, like, candidly, it was Charlie's Twitter feed. It was just like clip after clip after clip, and it ended up, proving to be accurate.
He's manic. He goes back and forth on a 24-hour basis. Sure. The video that you reposted, not 24 hours before, he had just posted another video about how awful the strike polled in the public, and then he went back immediately after and did another video within a day which is the one that you posted. This is what they do, guys. All right, and think about it in terms of COVID, because it's like one of the best examples of what the media does, and people we call them over here the election mafia, right? So Harry Enton, Nate Silver, the Larry Sabato at the Crystal Ball.
Sure.
These guys we've long called on our side the election mafia. And what they'll do is they'll understate somebody like Trump's great. They'll understate Trump's approval rating way below where it really is. And then when he does something stupid that they like, they'll jack his approval rating up, like COVID, shut down the government, right? And then all of a sudden you'll get polls, Trump said a majority approval for the first time ever in his administration. They did this in the first administration. And it was not the smart political thing to do. It exposed him politically. Then when that vulnerability hits, they'll crash him into the 30s, and the right falls for it all.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So would you say, Rich, though, that Trump's I guess his political backing from his supporters is pretty resilient. It's pretty stable, but it's been challenged in this first year, and even with the Venezuela strike, in new ways. I think because again, foreign policy seems to be the hot button topic, right? It's like we don't want to focus on it; we want to focus domestically, and then when we do, everybody's scared of the neocon intervention, foreign abstractions. Rabbit holes that trails that we've followed in years past. So where are we at right now? So Harry Enton says that actually the strike is more popular than we previously thought. What do you think?
It's historically, it's basically the most unpopular military action of its kind. Grenada had 82%, even 57% approved of the military action against Syria that Donald Trump took in his first administration in response to what we now probably, almost assuredly know were false flag attacks, right? So historically, compared to others, including Iran last year, by the way, which was very even, very evenly divided among the American public.
So where's this at according to your numbers, Rich?
It's not good. It's negative. It's not horribly negative, but it is negative. And this is and just so people understand, my own personal views are very different from what I think how I think the public sees this or what they're telling us right now. My own personal views, if you can get a guy like that out of there, Andrew, with a limited strike like this, in a limited operation, intel-led operation, get him out of there and then bring the regime to heel, take the gold and the oil, go ahead, because we're $40 trillion in debt and you need to back the petrodollar. That's my view. That's Rich Barris's view. That's not the public's view. Unfortunately, they have PTSD over this, brother. You understand? They have PTSD over this. And the administration sold it like garbage. This was the easiest sell. Look, they stole our oil a few years ago, and we're not going to nation build. That's what we're going to do. Don't give the public some garbage rehatch version of the failed war on drugs, which they laugh at and think is ridiculous. Don't insult their intelligence like that. Come out and just say, be the strong man that you were elected to be.
As this year draws to an end,